send them all home. And this guy is standing exactly where he was in that video, silent. So I asked him what he thinks about sending them all home.
Oh, so you've went over it. All right. Well, this is very interesting.
And then he's just going to flex. That's all happened.
This might be my first political debate, which is interesting. And actually, you know what? I'm going to have fun with this one, actually. So let me repeat one thing then. You're going to hear David get political today, but I'll do it in a David kind of way. So, first of all, the longer ending of Mark is historical. It is in Tatius Diatessaron, and it is even quoted by earlier our fathers along the 3rd and 2nd century. Therefore, if you have the crucifixion and resurrection in Mark, the earliest gospel, the Quran is automatically false because it denies both. So therefore, by that being then Diatessaron in the 2nd century, which is available, by the way, even in Arabia, there's no excuse for Muhammad, whoever wrote the Quran, to not know about this information. Therefore, the information in the Quran cannot be from God, it's from someone else, probably a man. Now, Tay is doing something very interesting today. Tay wants to get political. And you know what? We're going to have fun with this political stuff. He's asking me
I didn't want to get anything.
Oh, really? All right. Well,
you just came to interrupt me.
We'll see how well you do.
Yeah.
He's asking me about Young Bob's notion a few weeks ago to send them home, right? That's very interesting. Who is the them? Well, the them, from my understanding, are Islamists who want to turn the UK into a hellhole where you can abuse women, charge jizya to non-believers, and take blood money from Zoroastrians and Sikhs. I would say, for any English person, even non-English person, that doesn't sound very fun. Now, Tay obviously supports this.
I'm letting you talk
it's part of his religion, right? And therefore, if he supports this stuff, I would say that anybody who holds the desire to turn a country into a literal hellhole, whether it be in Japan or in the UK, should be removed from that country because they are a danger to the country's core values, which Tay doesn't support. Anyway, Tay, why don't you support the country's core values?
So let me address everything you said there. So you were talking about the ending of Mark, and you were saying that it's authentic according to his opinion. I'm not going to get into that, but the fact is, that wasn't even what I was discussing with a Christian. What I was discussing with a Christian was in the latest manuscripts, like the new standard revised versions of these manuscripts in the Bible, it clarifies that it has clarifications about the Mark's ending. So it has clarifications about Mark's ending in the new latest versions. It doesn't have that in the 16th century versions, the 17th century versions, the versions before. That's what the discussion was that I was having with the Christians before he rudely interrupted. And he just continuously goes on about Mark's ending being authentic. That's not what I was debating. I was debating if there's clarifications in the oldest manuscripts of the King James Version on whether Mark's ending was legitimate or not. So he's so stuck up and he's so stubborn, he's not even willing to concede the fact that I'm right and he agrees with me. Otherwise, are you willing to accept the fact that when the King James Version came out, in its original version, it didn't have a clarification point there about Mark's ending? See?
Is that your main point?
That was what I was debating, and then you just came
notice
in.
Notice how he's curved away from politics now.
Okay, now I'm going to go back to. Now I'm going to go back to the politics.
Well, I can answer you if you want.
No.
Okay.
Go ahead. Yes or no? Yes or no?
Right.
Yes or no?
No, that's a false dichotomy. So, in the original King James version that he's talking about, neither of us have seen it or read it. So therefore, we do not know if there was a scholarly insertion to suggest that supposedly the longer ending of Mark is a variant. Now, he mentioned versions of manuscripts. We don't have versions of manuscripts of modern translations. When we refer to manuscripts, we're talking about either medieval or from the first 3 or 4 centuries. Those are where we get those from. What they're referencing here are translations.
He's just yapping.
Okay.
Let me give you a book's quotation. So Nicholas P. Lund wrote the original ending of Mark. In that book, in like an abstract, it says, although traditionally accepted by the church through the centuries, the longer ending of Mark's Gospel, 1619 to 20, has been relegated by modern scholarship to the status of a later appendage. I'm talking about in traditional Bibles, was there an appendage there? Was there a clarification there saying this is a matter of dispute about Mark's ending? No, there wasn't. He's just playing a game where he doesn't want to accept the fact that I'm right and the fact that he believes what I'm saying, because Bibles in the 17th, 18th, 19th century didn't have this clarification. He just wants to...
calling the King James a traditional Bible.
Whoa.
It's not
okay.
a traditional
I know you like
Bible,
throwing
my
out
friend.
Christian denominations left, right, and centre when you like throwing them under the bus whenever it suits you. But even though you're an ecumenist, even though you're an
I love how you're
ecumenist.
running from the political angle.
Okay, let's go to the
Because I
political. Let's go to the political angle then. Let's go to the political angle then.
Because
Alright.
ultimately, his religion allows for the worst atrocities possible in humanity, and they're all halal. Slavery is okay, so he believes that.
All right, let's go to the politics then. I said I'm going to address everything
Hey,
you said.
no, it's okay. Do whatever you want.
Now he's panicking. Now he's panicking because he didn't think I was.
But I'd love to see you address
Why,
slavery.
ladies and gentlemen, you're probably from America, you're probably from all around the world and Europe. You know the trigger for the protests, what's happening on the 13th of September with Tommy Robinson. You know all of these issues in the UK about migration stemmed from the Eping Hotel and what happened outside the Eping Hotel, right? Is that true? Yes or no? Yeah, everyone in the crowd has said yes. Okay, what happened in the Eping Hotel? He doesn't want to go to it because the fact is, the guy. Tell me what happened in the Eping Hotel.
Well, ultimately, you're running from the original
Okay,
points.
I'll give you. I'll let you guys know
So people,
because he doesn't want to let you know.
He's running. Don't forget, earlier he was asking me about young Bob
hang on.
to send people home.
You're done
now
here, man.
he's
You're
run
done
away
here, man.
from that conversation.
You
because
said
I exposed the reason why people who share his ideology are a threat to English society, and now he wants to address it.
So, okay,
coward.
Everything, all the tensions that are happening.
This is great. This is great. I know. This is excellent.
Okay.
I love Tim.
All the issues that are happening today and in recent weeks is due to the Epping Hotel and what happened there. What happened there was a migrant harassed, allegedly harassed teenage school children, right? Going up to them and asking if they want babies and stuff and the manner, allegedly, right? And then the far right have gone around protesting. And he's here as a Christian trying to turn the conversation. He mentions this and then he turns it back. So let's hear about this migrant, right? His name was Hadush Kebatu, right? And he is an Ethiopian, right? Which is nothing wrong with that. But the fact is...
Well, Muhammad will have an issue with that.
Okay.
Call him a racist head, probably.
Hang on.
So nothing is wrong with that for regular people, but Muhammad would have an issue with that.
Okay, so what he says was, I am not a wild animal, I am a Christian, we don't... Okay, wait, hang on. It's fine. Okay.
They don't have an issue with them, but Muhammad does. Why did Muhammad not go there himself? He hates them raisin heads, man.
Hang on.
He hates them raisin heads.
Sorry, bro.
Do you know by the way, Muhammad believes that at the end of the day,
you're deflecting. He's scared now. He's scared now. Okay.
So you follow a man who hates you. Well done, man.
Okay.
But Christ loves you though.
So this Hadush Kebatu, who is accused of sexual assault in Epping, Essex, says he's not a wild animal. I can't do these things. I am a Christian. It is not in my culture. Silence. He's trying to paint all of these immigrants as Muslims who commit crimes against the people of the UK. He forgets the fact that the person who kicked off all of this was a Christian.
Prove it.
And he's trying to appeal to his Christianity.
Prove they're Christian.
Okay, prove they're Christian.
We know that Muslims can lie.
Okay.
So if a Muslim, for example, can lie by saving their skin, by claiming that they're a Christian, it's completely halal. Because the Christians are absolutely in jail. Don't forget, being a Christian inherently is not wrong, even within Islam. Okay. The Quran says that Christians can attain salvation. Even the Hadith say the same thing. So that man claiming he's a Christian is simply a way of galvanizing the Christian audience in the UK to show him sympathy. Very likely, if he was doing these activities, it's highly unlikely he was a Christian because Christians at least aspire to the principle. Whereas within Islam, that isn't the case. And what we do know, unfortunately, is that the majority of those who are being caught in these scandals related to immigration are always fighting age men. It's never the women. So I say, if this immigration is to continue from people who are from disparaged countries, who are economic migrants or even who are environmental migrants, prioritize women and children and not men like him who believe they should establish slavery in the UK.
Okay, this, ladies and gentlemen, is a no true Scotsman fallacy. He's just saying, just because this individual is a Christian and he has allegedly done something wrong, according to him, he can't be a Christian. He's clearly a Christian. He's from Ethiopia. His name is of... Ethiopia is a half Muslim, half Christian country. but his name indicates he's a Christian. This is a no true Scotsman fallacy. If he himself, if the individual in question himself identifies as a Christian, like he's just playing a no true Christian fallacy.
Can a Muslim identify as a Christian to save their own skin? Can they? The answer is yes.
Is he saving his own skin? Is he saving his own skin?
Yes, because he's hoping that if he says that he is a Christian,
this is ridiculous.
That will then galvanize the Christian audience in the UK.
Let me tell you, and also, let me go back to the
people who follow Muhammad will do this.
No, he's just being Islamophobic. I'm not going to address the Islamic stuff.
Islamophobia doesn't exist, by the way. It's a literal lie invented
It actually does.
during the Bush
According to the Home Office, it does.
What's phobia?
According to the Home Office, it does.
So please tell me.
So if you're going to go on camera,
no, hold up. The word phobia is being used. Phobia is a fear, particularly an irrational fear. Please explain to me how you can be irrationally afraid of an ideology.
By targeting members of the community just because they have visual depictions of stuff that they have.
That would be discrimination, not a phobia.
No, but because of an innate fear of the way they look, that is phobia.
So
anyway, he's running from the migrant thing now. He's running from the migrant thing now.
I'm still on the migrant thing, but he's claiming that I'm being Islamophobic. Well, you're being Christophobic because you are advertising this country as a place where people should come and then establish a Sharia law. So therefore, if that's what you're doing, then you're being Christophobic because this country is a Christian country and not one built upon Islamic principles.
No. So the fact is, he's just running constantly. He's running constantly because he's doing the no true Scotsman fallacy. This man was allegedly committed his crimes. He was an Ethiopian Christian, and he, according to him, I just showed you on BBC. It clarifies and it quotes this exact man on BBC saying, "I am a Christian."
So if somebody
we just had this guy's word saying, "Oh, he's not." So am I going to go with the BBC and I'm going to go with a guy from a historically Christian majority country with a Christian name saying he's Christian, or am I going to go with this guy here?
Ethiopia is a historically Christian country, but it's half Muslim currently, like Nigeria. So ain't so great. However, when it comes to his notion here, so whatever a person says about themselves is true. All right. And in that case,
ladies and gentlemen,
I'm just correct in everything I say.
Okay.
And therefore, I have to be.
And ladies and gentlemen, this all originated from him interrupting me about a conversation which he actually agreed with me, but he was just playing a game. And then me retaliating by asking him about his buddy Young Bob, who comes to the park, who's associated with Turning Point UK, right, which is an offshoot of Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk's organization. And Young Bob coming to here saying, "Send them all home," going viral on the far right, and this guy standing next to him, silent, looking like a dummy, because the fact is, they want to send him home too.
For as young as Young Bob and Turning Point USA are not advocating for child marriage, slavery, and repayment of jizya, I say that they are fine to stay. However, people like Tay who want to advertise these things or advocate for them, I say they have no place in any civilized country. So, I doubt Saudi would accept them. I doubt Japan would accept them. I doubt even Nigeria would accept them. So actually, I don't think they're wrong in that regard.
Hang on, okay. So he made these claims. Turning Point USA, so the founder of Turning Point, which his buddy is a member of, Charlie Kirk, he recently, when talking about Zoran Mamdani, said uncivilized countries eat with their hands. Do they eat with their hands in Nigeria?
No.
Do they eat with their hands in Ghana?
No.
Well, that just shows me you have no idea about Nigerian culture.
Have you lived in Nigeria? I have.
Do they eat with their hands?
I ate with a fork and a spoon. I don't know about you though.
Okay.
I guess somehow Tay is an expert now at Nigerian culture. Gotta love it. So Tay is assuming that all Nigerians and Ghanaians eat with their hands.
There's fufu that you eat with your hand, right?
Or with a spoon, like I do.
Okay, but traditionally, this is an impact of colonialism. And when the Western powers invaded these countries, they enforced their cultural norms. But traditionally, Nigerians and Ghanaians did eat with their hands. And they did eat rice with their hands. Is that true or not? Oh, silence! 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 Okay, they did eat with their hands. Nigerians and Ghanaians, traditionally, according to their culture, pre-colonialism, ate rice with their hands. Now, we have a guy, Charlie Kirk, Young Bob's dad, I don't know, maybe, he's going around saying that the cultures that eat with their hands are uncivilized cultures, and we, the West, are better than cultures that eat with their hands. Do you agree with that?
So, I doubt you
Do you agree with that?
accurately, but here's what we'll even do better. So, I do not care for Charlie Cook's opinions.
Well, why are you going around with the head of Turning Point UK? Why are you going around with the spokesperson of Turning Point UK? This guy.
Well, I would like him to address the Islamic concept that he believes in of the House of Islam and the House of War. So he believes, according to his religion, that every place in the world that is not Islamic is in the House of War.
He hasn't addressed a single thing I said.
Go and fight every country that is not yet Muslim until they become Muslim. No. That's what you see in the Quran.
It says in the Quran
in the 700s, and that's what you see in the invasion of Africa, even from the medieval period downwards. So, if he's upset by the notion that uncivilized cultures live and eat with their hands, according to one random guy in America, I am heavily offended.
It's not one random guy in America. It's his best buddy's boss. It's his best buddy's boss.
Because the UK is not predominantly Muslim. So, why are you at war with the UK?
I'm not at war with the UK. I'm a UK citizen. I have contributed to this country in the last 2 years more than he's ever done and is ever going to do in his entire life, right? I have...
Please tell us how.
I'm not going to tell you how.
Okay, fine. No.
But
so you're lying.
No, I'm not.
Okay, well, prove it.
No. Why do I have to prove it to you?
Because
who are you? You're just some random guy in the street.
Prove it.
Well, why do I have to prove it?
Because you made a claim, so evidence it.
Okay. Do you want me to evidence it?
Go ahead.
Okay, fine. I have 5 years of working in the public sector.
So what?
So what have you done for the government of the UK?
I have not promoted Islam.
Okay. And all you've done is just continuously deflect from the fact that your buddy, who is a member of the far right, and you are an ethnic minority just like myself, you continuously prop him up and give him a platform. All you Christian channels, you should know better than this. This man is a spokesperson for the far right, and by you pushing young Bob's agenda, you're furthering his platform. And at the end of the day, he wants to send me back on a boat, even though I'm from the UK and I'm a UK citizen and I was born here, and my family on my mother's side have historically had ties to the British throughout their history. Even though that, despite that, they want to send me home based on my race. They want to send him home based on his race. And the fact is, young Bob, you're his best buddy. So that's all I'm asking. Why are you promoting?
I'm not a tribalist like you are.
And also, sorry, let me just address the point about Islam. Because he's saying that we're at war. First of all, this is textbook Islamophobia. All of you are Muslims that you're aware of, that you're friends with, that you have family members that are Muslim. You know those members are not at war with you. They might be your mothers, they might be your fathers, they might be your children. You know they're not at war with you. And dangerous talk like this is exactly giving the platform further to people like the far right. Muslims, we want to live in peace, we want to integrate in the UK, we want to be model citizens for the UK. What? We want to be model citizens for the UK, we want to help the UK, we contribute to the UK, a massive portion of the UK is Muslim, and this hatred towards Islam and towards Muslims, especially the British Muslim minority, is because of foreign interference. And that is people like Elon Musk posting racist stuff on X, people like young Bob, his buddy, who's a spokesperson for a US hate organization. This is the reason why, sadly, this country is turning more and more Islamophobic. And sadly, it's not going to end there. The more and more it turns Islamophobic, the more and more it's going to start turning against the ethnic minorities. And as I said, he's going to be sent home on a boat to Rwanda, just like me, if he gets his way.
Great Mehdi has some talking point, by the way. So, the idea that supposedly Muslims aren't aware of the teaching of the House of Islam and the House of War is just a failure on the side of Muslims. But people like Kenya know about it. And that's why people with that ideology shouldn't be here, or shouldn't be in any country that's civilized. That's why I say that's simple. Okay. If you went to Japan and claimed that you believed that you were at war with Japan, they wouldn't let you in. If you went to Nigeria and said the same thing, they wouldn't let you in either. So I think the notion of not allowing people into your country who want to destroy from the inside is perfectly reasonable. So his emotional argument towards Islamophobia doesn't exist. If that exists, then that means that I can say that Christophobia exists. And because
Christophobia does exist.
Are always persecuted.
When did I say
by
Christophobia
Muslims,
doesn't exist?
That means that Muslims are inherently Christophobic. Look at Egypt, look at Tunisia, look at Morocco, look at anywhere you have a Muslim, Nigeria, anywhere you have a Muslim majority country, or even a Muslim minority over 20%, they continuously harass, degrade, kill, murder, kidnap Christians. So that means that Muslims are inherently Christophobic, and zero Muslims ever call it out. Tay will never call out what's happening in Nigeria. He'll never call out what's happening in Egypt. He'll never call out what's happening in Palestine to the Christians. He'll never call it out because he's a Christophobe. Okay, now, getting back to the idea of...
Can I address this? Can I address this? So he's not going to let me address that.
Your own turn. Okay. So, getting back to the idea of what's occurring with me apparently getting sent home with them, I am not an Islamist. I have come to the UK, and you know what? I respect their laws. I pay taxes, the whole shebang. And I don't advocate that this country descends into a hellhole where you can trade children as goods or where you can marry kids. I like the British system. It's all great. I have no issue with it beyond the obvious. He, on the other hand, wants to transform from the inside to match a 7th century
people like him like to quote Surah 9. People, no, I'm not going to get too emotional. I'm not going to turn this into a religious discussion, like I said, because you're running from the political one. Okay, so people like him like to quote Surah 9, right? And Surah 9, Christians like to point towards that as being anti-Christian or whatever. Surah 9 clearly states if the disbelievers incline towards peace, then incline towards peace also. So it's clarifying that Muslims and disbelievers can live in peace.
In Islam is one of domination.
No, it's not.
Where you're only at peace with them, never as equal citizens.
He wants a history lesson. He wants a history lesson.
Of Muslims.
So I'm going to you've been talking. You've been talking a long time. Okay.
So have you.
He's not going to let me talk. So in Ethiopia, which is actually where this migrant came from, Ethiopia and that region has long ties with Islam. We have during the Prophet ﷺ's lifetime. Many Muslims made emigration to Ethiopia because they had a righteous Christian ruler, and due to that the Prophet advised Muslims to go to Ethiopia and seek refuge there, a small portion of Muslims to go there and seek refuge due to the persecution they were facing in Mecca by the Quraysh. So due to that, many Muslims fled to Ethiopia and they lived peacefully with the Christian there, and the Christian acknowledged Islam as being a religion of peace, and he let them thrive in their empire for a while. Some of them stayed, some of them returned. But that clearly shows you from the inception of Islam, there has been peaceful relations between Christians and Muslims throughout. And since then, there's been peaceful interactions between Christians and Muslims throughout both our histories. Now, one thing, I'm not Christophobia. I have family members that are Christian. I love Christians. There's nothing about me that is Christophobic. Is Christophobia a real thing? Is Christophobia a real thing?
Christophobia is as real as Islamophobia.
Okay, so you're saying both of them aren't real. So according to him, as real. As real.
As real.
Oh, look at this. This is disingenuous talk. He's panicking now.
It's as real.
When extremist Hindus in the Indian subcontinent forcefully... No, I'm not going for the Hindus. I have friends that are Hindus. I'm just giving an example.
After that, go for the Sikhs too.
I'm not going for any group. Unlike you, I'm here for unity, not disunity. You're
here for unity under Islam, where everyone's under your heel.
No. So, in an example, in any situation then, I'm not going to name India, I'm going to give any country where there are forced conversions of Christians. That is Christophobia. I'm going to call that out. Whether that be in Nigeria, whether that be in India, whether that be in any Muslim country, I'm going to call that out as Christophobia. The fact is, I just said...
And you wouldn't do it.
I just said I'm doing it. I just said I'm doing it. I'm doing it. In North Nigeria, where there are Muslims that are forcefully converting Christians, I'm against that, and I'll call that out as Christophobia. The difference between me and him is I'm for unity, and I'm out for calling out any form of extremism. He's not, because he's not willing to call out extremism against Muslims, but he's happy for me to call out extremism against Christians, and that is double standards. And let's see if he can call out any instance of extremism against Muslims.
Give us any against Muslims for him, it's agreeing with Islam. No, that's extreme for him. Why?
No.
Because his Prophet told everybody that if anybody leaves the religion, kill them. So maybe if I don't agree with an ideology that's that insane, maybe I'm not being phobic to a people, but I'm having common sense. For example, Nazism isn't a great idea. I don't quite like Nazism. It's not like a Christian for life or a Christian for like a society that functions. I'm not really Nazi-phobic.
You back up a bit.
I just have common sense. In the same capacity, if there is a tradition that is espousing Nazi ideology, propping up certain people above others, making people able to be killed and enslaved for not paying a tax because they follow certain religion, I can hate that idea as well and not be phobic. Now, back to his earlier point.
So guys, he can't give me a single instance. He can't give a single instance of Islamophobia. He can't give a single instance of anti-Muslim behavior because he agrees with every bit of anti-Muslim behavior. He wants
and say what he said. They went
he
there and
agrees
lied
with
about what
every
Islam
single
is,
bit of
and because
any
they lied
person.
about
He can't even call out one
unnamed
instance of
emperor
anti-Muslim
apparently
behavior.
was the one that accepted them and let them
He can't
live
call
there.
out one.
Now,
Can you see this?
Story is like
He can't call out one
because, for
instance
example,
of anti-Muslim
even their own
behavior
traditions
because according to
can't tell
him,
you the
we should all
name
be killed.
of this emperor. So because you can't tell you the name of the emperor, it likely didn't actually occur. It's not a real person, more like an archetype. And let's recount the instance, for example, of the first
Bro,
Muhammad.
come on, man. I gave you a book as well. Can you back up?
The very first instance of Muhammad summoning the curse of Allah against any individual was against Christian monks.
not giving me enough
that
space.
refused to accept him as
I'm just asking to move a little bit.
So to say that Muhammad and his followers like Christians, or that Islam and Christianity are Muslim friends, that's never been true. From the very onset of Islam, it's always been against Christianity, against the message of the cross, against the idea of our tradition, and against the idea of Jesus. So actually, we've never been unified.
Okay,
We'll never
let me give
but
you.
we can under Christ alone. Amen.
Okay, so he's giving a very spurious version of history that is absolutely not true. I'm giving you sources. I'm giving you actual examples from early Islamic history that shows how Muslims and Christians can coexist in peace
What's the
and live
emperor's
together.
name? What's his name?
Okay. Amir al-Mu'mineen, Caliph, second Caliph, Umar ibn
Ethiopian.
al-Khattab, the leader of the Muslims after Abu Bakr and Muhammad, peace be upon him, he went to Jerusalem and he led the Muslim army to Jerusalem and took Jerusalem. When he took Jerusalem, they had the most, in Jerusalem, there is the most holy site Christians, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. When he was welcomed in to Jerusalem as the new leader, he was asked by the Christians to come and pray in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. What did the Caliph do? Umar ibn al-Khattab, Allah be pleased with him, he said, no, I'm not going to pray in your church because if I pray here, Muslims later on might misinterpret this as a good place to build a mosque. So I'm going to pray outside the church and show you guys respect. You're going to be respected in my city. You're going to be respected. You're going to be treated well. You're going to be treated minorities in that city. The Jews were expelled from Jerusalem when the Prophet's companion conquered it. They were invited back to Jerusalem. So this story not just shows that Islam can exist with Christians, it also shows Islam has existed with Jews in peace in multiple times in the Islamic history. The other thing is, to this day, Muslims hold the keys to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. So the most religious site of Christianity, the keys are held by a Muslim family. So that just shows you that Muslims and Christians can coexist in peace. This guy is no better than his far-right white ethno-nationalist buddies because the only difference between him and them is he's not white. So he can't name me a single instance of anti-Islamic behavior, anti-Muslim behavior, because he agrees with every single anti-Muslim behavior. He still can't name me one. And you guys have family, friends, even if you're not Muslim, you guys have family, friends, work colleagues, people in your society and neighborhood that you get along with that are Muslim, and you know in your heart of hearts that any unreasonable behavior against them is Islamophobic or it's discriminatory, and he can't give me a single instance, which shows his extremism. And there we go.
So, amazing emotional arguments. It's trash, however. Now, when it comes to the history, apparently, of Islam and Christians, I love this guy. You know why? Earlier on, he mentioned that colonialism is bad and colonial influence is bad. This guy is trying to tell me.
I never. When you're straw manning,
Thank you so much, David. Cheers, legend. Have a good
his
day.
buddy's done. His buddy's done with him
This
because he's
guy's trying to
realised
tell me
that his
that
buddy,
when
who's
Umar
recording this, was
conquered
also
Jerusalem
promoting
and colonized
anti-Islamic
Jerusalem,
behaviour,
that he was doing
Islamophobia,
Christians a favor
extremism
by
against
not
minorities.
praying in their church.
You see that?
Okay.
His
in
buddy
the
ran
same
off because he
capacity,
realised his buddy here
when
is an
the
extremist.
Europeans conquered, for example, India, they were doing them a favor by not destroying every single temple they had. Nonsensical. So if all that happened here was that Umar apparently wouldn't pray in a certain church, that means nothing. Ever since Jerusalem has been conquered by Muslims, they were ousted from Jerusalem at the time of the Crusades, and even now today, there are less Christians there than there were potentially in a time before Muslims attacked. So ultimately, all Islam has done in Jerusalem is make it a worse, more oppressive place for Christians throughout history. Christians never thrived in Jerusalem under Islam. Name one instance, doesn't exist. Christians live as second-class citizens, and even in some instances, had to petition to be allowed to wear shoes, because jizya and being a dhimmi institutes that you as a Christian have to be a second-class citizen, even if it's in your own country, like the Christians who lived in Jerusalem at the time.
Okay.
So, if he is espousing an idea that supposedly we should adopt this and be unified with an idea that dehumanizes people, that makes people to be on the same level as animals, that is not something that is welcome in any country, European, African, or Asian. Therefore, if somebody holds that idea and they're agitating to get that idea instituted in some country, I have no problem at all with them being removed.
Okay.
Last thing.
My religion. No, you get time.
You mentioned something racial. So, Tay sees the world from a racial lens. As a Christian, I do not. I am colorblind. We are all one in Christ. He's of the assumption that he can somehow sway me to this position by claiming
I don't want to sway you.
that if Islamists are removed, the next target will be black people. Okay,
You're a lost
Islamists
cause, bro.
and black people are not the same thing. I don't know if you know that. Islamists, I'll say it again, Islamists and black people are not the same thing.
All right.
Black
You
people are not here agitating for the country to be turned into a 7th century hellhole.
Guys,
but Islamists are.
notice how he hasn't given a single instance of anti-Muslim behavior. Notice how he hasn't given a single example of anti-Muslim behavior because he agrees with it all. And he's still not giving any example of anti-Muslim behavior because he wants to hurt us all. He wants to get rid of us all. He's just said it. He said he wants to send us all on a ship back. Now he keeps pointing to the minorities.
No one wants you guys.
He keeps pointing to. I let you talk. You don't want me to talk because I'm exposing you.
Well, you're losing your voice.
See.
And all you can do is emotional arguments.
Okay. He wants to talk about Christian minorities in Muslim countries. Sure, there has been elements of persecution throughout history. I'm not denying that. But the fact is, there are Christian minorities that exist in Muslim countries. Let's see the other side. Look at Europe, and let's look at Europe before the Renaissance. An entirely Christian continent. What happened to the minorities in Europe? There was a period. There was complete subjugation of any non-Christian in Europe. Complete persecution across the board of any minority in Europe that was not Christian. Whether they were burnt in the witch trials, whether they were burnt here just because they were a heretical Christian, they were burnt at the stake here, where we are right now. Whether they were in Latvia, minding their own business, Latvians, the people in the Baltics, for those of you who don't know, the Baltics were not Christianized as fast as the rest of the Europe. So the Baltics were a pagan region within Europe. What happened? The Pope called for a crusade against the Baltic states. He called for subjugation of the people there and for forced conversion to Christianity. So the reason why before the Renaissance there were no minorities, no non-Christian minorities in Europe is because they were all killed, forcefully converted, or discriminated and persecuted to the point where they had to leave the continent. So it's a bit rich from this Christian extremist to be telling me about Muslim countries and the persecution in Muslim countries when his continent that was completely Christian at a certain point of time, when they shared the same fundamentalist viewpoint as he does today, back then, they eliminated all minorities altogether. And the fact is, notice how he still doesn't call out any anti-Muslim behavior. I believe this is illegal and against our government's policies. And on top of that, also, the fact is that you're just furthering the point that, you know, people like him, fundamentalist extreme Christians of his viewpoint and of his persuasion, are calling for the subjugation of Muslims like me and like your family members, your friends, your brothers and sisters. And I just want to clarify, I'm not anti-Christianity. As I said, I have admiration for many things in the Christian tradition. I have admiration for many figures that are Christian. I am not anti-Christianity, I'm anti-his Christianity.
Luckily, in Christianity, we don't call for anybody to be subjugated. Like I said, all are one in Christ. Muhammad, on the other hand, called for Christians and Jews to live under estates where they would pay a tax for being Christians and Jews.
I just showed you in Europe, there was no minorities
Islamists over here is doing the exact same thing.
Persecution.
The exact same thing that all Islamists do. All they can ever do to criticize Christianity is to point to small instances of skirmishes.
Small instances of skirmishes. This is the entire European continent, from the Reconquista to the Baltic Crusades. This is across the board of Europe, and he's saying small instances.
1,500 years ago. Whereas today, in the year of our Lord
1,500 years ago, we're talking about 500 years ago,
where Christians,
people like you,
are still being persecuted. Like I said, kidnapped, burned alive, beheaded. Where? All across Africa, all across Asia.
And I called it out. And I called it out. I called it out. I'm calling it out to your faces. He's such a liar. I'm saying I'm anti any persecution of Christians to the fact where they're being kicked out of their homes.
The Islamic world is because of the examples of their caliphs and of their prophets. Colonizers, people who went around the world colonizing, subjugating, murdering, and killing other individuals simply because they didn't agree with worshiping
ladies and gentlemen,
their God. Notice, by the way,
I'm letting him talk.
3 times he interrupted me. So when it's his turn, I'm going to give
when it's my turn, it's like a third of your turn because you're terrified. In my 1/3 turn, I completely decimate all your points.
As you can see, he's panicking. So, because he's panicking, he realizes that his tradition is an evil tradition. It's one that calls for people to be killed, subjugated, and beheaded for simply believing in something other than what they believe in. Christianity, on the other hand, allows for diversity. It allows for
I just gave you examples where your version of Christianity doesn't.
Retain your ethnic identity and still be a Christian, because all that combines us is our joint belief in Christ. Islam, like him, for example, only want to Arabize everything. You must pray in Arabic, read in Arabic, have Arabic everywhere around you. Because all they
Are you done? 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 Okay, so he's talking about colonialism.
And all he cares about is promoting
He's talking about colonialism. I just gave you an example at the beginning of the conversation.
Or anything British. He despises European culture because it's the antithetical to Islam.
Alright, are you done? Are you done? Are you done?
He doesn't want an extreme form of Islam. Basically allows
I'll let you talk as long as you want, bro, because you're done.
And marry kids.
Yeah.
I say that's a good idea.
Okay, so guys, he's talking about colonialism. I just gave you an instance of colonialism in his country. No, he's not shutting up. There's no point in doing this conversation. Okay, let's just reiterate. Let's reiterate the fact. He consistently says, I don't call out behavior which persecutes Christians. I have. Any behavior in North Nigeria where Christians are being...
Call it out specifically. Call it out. What's happening there? Okay. Tell me a date, a time, an event, something, nothing.
Extremist groups in North Nigeria that are persecuting and killing Christians, I call it out, whether there be whatever group.
Well,
right?
That's what Muhammad did.
He's not willing to do the same. Right. And he's saying there's no Islamophobia. He's not willing to call out any group that persecutes Muslims around the world. Does that not show you he's an extremist? Does that not show you?
You're right.
No, I'm not
I call out Al Qaeda. I call out Boko Haram. I call out Hezbollah.
Can you call out any?
The only groups that I'm aware of that persecute Muslims are Muslim groups.
No, that's not true. What about what's happening in the state of Israel right now? All right. So anyway, he's deflecting from the point. He's deflecting from the point.
Exactly.
He's deflecting from the point.
So in every country, wherever you have Islamic, Muslim groups,
he says
they are the ones
says
that
I'm not.
Christians.
He says
example,
I'm not. You ladies and gentlemen, you know, from the limited time he's giving me to talk.
Who's the one victim of Islam's activity?
He says.
Muslims.
He
so
says.
Hezbollah,
He says he's against colonialism, unlike me. Whereas, what is he talking about? I was talking about Nigerian tradition, and I was talking about the fact that they eat with their hands. And he was talking about, no they don't, they eat with a fork. No they don't, they eat with a fork. That was a result of colonialism. So he's denying his own tradition because of colonialism. So anyway, he's not willing to call out any anti-Muslim behavior by any group that is not prescribing themselves Muslim. So that just shows you his hatred.
Now you've changed this.
No.
I see.
No.
So now he wants to.
No, that was clearly no.
Sorry, he wants to call out non-Muslim groups.
He doesn't want to
persecute Muslims.
He doesn't.
Very interesting.
All of this is because he wants to still stand with his far-right white nationalist buddy, young Bob, who is screaming here, get them all out, and that includes people like me, and that includes people like him. Young Bob has been going across the UK, Essex, everywhere, claiming, and he's been followed by a clearly white nationalist crowd. This whole situation stemmed from Eping Hotel and what happened there. And that was because of an Ethiopian migrant that came to the UK and allegedly harassed Christian women, Christian girls, young Christian girls. And what was his defense in court? His defense, according to the BBC, was, I am not an animal. I am a Christian. I don't do these things. So the man who did this was a Christian, a man who abused young Christian girls allegedly in this country was a self-proclaimed Christian. His argument was no true Scotsman fallacy, that he can't be a Christian because he did something bad. We all know he was a Christian. On top of that, what is his extreme fundamentalist version of Christianity is not compatible with the UK. It is not compatible with the UK. Let me give you an example. If that disgusting migrant, any disgusting migrant that abuses any young girl in the UK, if they unfortunately succeed and do unfortunately impregnate the woman that they abused, if they impregnate the woman that they abused, that woman, according to him, that poor young girl that has been sexually harassed to the point where she's pregnant with that disgusting person's baby, according to him, that woman should keep the baby. And if that migrant sexually abuses that woman again, according to him, she should turn the other cheek and keep the next baby. Keep the next baby, and keep the next baby.
Okay. So this is very, very interesting. So Tay has made an argument. So his argument.
No, I'm just showing you guys. I'm not done. So I just showed you.
Who are of male fighting age is so that they can impregnate European women.
When was that my argument? No, I was giving the reality.
If that's what he wants, then again, that is why Islamists do not belong here. They think like he does.
That is disgusting. So, what a deflection.
Getting back to it.
What a deflection. That migrant that he's talking about was a black Christian.
When it comes back to the idea that supposedly Islam is not a colonialist religion. Well, he needs to answer how exactly.
Okay, so I just showed you, he's just misinterpreting. You all heard what I said. You all heard what I said. The fact is that this individual that this whole protest stemmed from was a Christian. He was a Christian. And we're getting the blame. Why are Muslims getting the blame for a crime committed by a Christian? He used his Christianity to justify what he did by saying, I'm a Christian, I don't do these things.
Because the person says something,
his buddy is going around causing havoc in this country because of what this guy did.
Okay.
And what is he doing? His buddy is going around with crosses.
Hamas beheaded children. Hamas is the shit of halal pig Muhammad.
And claim that they are Muslim, then that means that they are indeed Muslims, and he cannot claim that they're not.
So let's just get this right. What I said, the immigrant.
He's trying to make an argument.
I said the immigrant that committed the crime, allegedly, was a black Christian migrant to the UK who used his Christianity to justify that he can't do that. When we all know that that is not justification for not doing that. What happened is his buddy has been provoking the UK by going around with crosses, proclaiming a Christian message, a far-right Christian message, to get rid of all immigrants, based on what a black Christian migrant did.
I cannot in any way back up anything he
And his body is basically, his body and him are saying Christianity is the only answer for the UK. And it's the only answer to the UK when dealing with Christian immigrants that come into our country and say they're Christian and they don't do these things. That's a very weird logic to me. So his body's version is to go around saying we need to Christianize to stop these Christian immigrants coming into our country committing Christian crimes. Not Christian crimes, sorry. Not all Christians justify this. And not all Christians believe in this. But Christian immigrants that come into this country commit sexual crimes and say that they're Christian. His body... This is just uncivilized behavior from two uncivilized people. Is this civilized in the UK? Does this fit with the UK? Is this appropriate for the UK? Is this what we want in the UK? Is this what we want in the UK? Look at this. Yeah. Is this what we want in the UK? Christian extremists who come here and justify Christian immigrants committing sexual abuse of English women in the UK, English girls in the UK. They are justifying the abuse. They are justifying the abuse of Christian immigrants by saying they're not Christian. They're justifying the abuse of Christian immigrants committing rapes of women in the UK by saying they're not Christian. And his body is going around the UK talking about this.
Islamism should be in any civilized country.
Yeah, no, I just want to wrap up one thing. I mean, I'm just gonna wrap up for the Christian cameras. The fact is, I'm not just for the Christian cameras. I am not Christophobic. I have friends that are Christian. I have family members that are Christian. I have nothing against Christianity. I have nothing against Christianity. I have friends that are Christian. I call out any murder of Christians around the world that's not justified by Muslims. But he cannot give me a single example. He cannot give me a single example of murder of Muslims that he calls out by a non-Muslim. That just shows you he's a far-right extremist. He's no better than his body, and he's just as bad as his body. And you guys know I'm right. You guys know in your heart of hearts that you have friends and family members that are Muslim, and you don't want to subject them to the oppression that these two idiots want to.